Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Today we are of course going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on BTC, and we're going to give you my thoughts and opinions on where I think Bitcoin is heading in the kind of short to medium term. So let's roll that intro and then get right down into it. Okay guys, so here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. This is the 4-hour Binance chart. This is the one that we were looking at briefly last night with the ascending wedge pattern. This rising wedge is bearish, and of course we can see that there is weakness in the move to the upside at the moment, right? We can see here, if I zoom in just a fraction so you guys can really see, we're getting rejected on our trend line here. Okay, this trend line is essentially the upper trend line for BTC. Okay, so we can find ourselves getting rejected, and we're finding this problem right here. Now, we also have an overlapping candlestick structure. This overlapping pattern is also quite a bearish one that we want to be quite mindful of. Okay, so if we want to kind of think about this, we potentially can push up a little bit more, tap that upper line once again, because our stochastics here, they are in the oversold positioning on the 4-hour and 1-hour time frame. So we know that there's still potential for this move to the upside to still continue a little bit more, really tapping into that slightly higher range before we see a reversal in the market, because this is a trend reversal pattern. We went through this yesterday, right? And so we will be looking for a potential move down towards the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA, and the lower support trend line. We have this area of focus that we spoke about yesterday, which was $45,500 to $45,879, right? So the obvious thing here is going to be to try to find a good short position. It could be on a double top scenario with what we see previously, stop loss nice and tight, and profit down here somewhere in that kind of $45,500 to $45,800 range. Good risk reward ratio, good profit to be taken. Now, if I am, of course, going to be short in the market, I will be shorting on BitGet. BitGet is my go-to platform for my leverage-based trades. There is a link in the description down below, which will entitle you to various different bonuses and rewards depending on the jurisdiction that you are in. All the terms and conditions for those are in the description below, and of course on the website as well. Now, BitGet is a nice and easy to use platform. It is my go-to platform for all of my leverage-based trading. So I do think it is one that you might want to try out if you haven't done so already. I always urge everyone in this space to sign up to as many of these exchanges as possible, and you will find that there are several down in the description below. So why not check them out, get signed up, and start actively trading today. Let's jump on down into the charts. Now, actually, before I kind of talk more about what's going on here with BTC, it's probably worth noting that I am not a financial advisor. I cannot give anyone financial advice. All I can do is share my thoughts and opinions in the data, in the charts, as I personally see it. If you do have access to a financial advisor, you should probably consult them. After all, I'm just a guy on YouTube with a camera and a computer sharing his thoughts and opinions. And that is all they are. So if it were me, that's my approach to this one. Look for a short position on this slightly higher range and looking to take profit down here on the support trend line. That would be my approach. Nice tight stop loss, good risk management, and all that kind of stuff that we usually talk about. So we are, of course, going to be potentially looking for one more push to the upside and then a break here to the downside. Now, with this, there's another kind of interesting kind of structural points that are coming out here. Now, obviously, we spoke a little bit around head and shoulder based patterns and stuff like that, and there's actually one here that is what kind of broke us up to this point. Let me show you what that looks like by grabbing the head and shoulder pattern here. So we can see we have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. Here we broke the neckline and we pushed on up, and that move to the upside is based on the depth of our move here. Okay, and we can see if we move this to the neckline, it would still have a little bit more to the upside to go. However, we've kind of already seen this kind of significant surge to the upside already. So I wouldn't really be kind of hoping terribly too much more. I would have really focused in around the 47.5, 47.7, for example, on that 1.618 as a nice key area for us. But for nonetheless, it's been great to kind of see this one play out. Now, a part of this is also kind of taking into consideration that swing high at 48,969 and where we're facing this double top situation at the moment. I also look at this through a slightly different perspective. I'm going to actually add that to my favorites. I do like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw in an arc here, because this arc will represent a cup, and I'll anchor in again a potential handle. Okay, and so you can see here, if we are to test our low trend line, this is going to be our area for a cup. Now that cup becomes invalidated if we move down 50% or more of our cup, right? So our handle can't come down lower than 50%. That would invalidate it, and that would be $43,451. So we look here for support to be found on our lower trend line here, and then we're going to look for a break to the upside. And the target for this again would be up here on that slightly higher range at around the $56,000. Okay, should the cup and handle pattern play out. So it's going to be an interesting one, right? Because we are basically saying here that we have the potential for a double top situation to occur. We then have the cup here that would actually then complete. This would then allow us to have a retracement down into our little range down here at the 45,500 to 45,879, and then from here we can get the completed structure for the handle and a breakout of this bearish ascending wedge on this smaller time frame up towards that upper area here, where we might actually be able to find ourselves actually in this larger ascending wedge over a larger period of time. Still bearish, of course, and we are still looking for breakdown, and pretty common to kind of see, but it's something that we need to be quite mindful of on BTC. Now, this is a great structure, straight pattern, a really fantastic pattern that could play out, but we have to also bear in mind that the cup and handle pattern in itself has a really low success rate. It is around the 67%. Okay, so that's to mean that, you know, it's great to be able to identify it, and it's great to have great ideas around what we might do. For example, come down into this low range, stop loss just below our trend line, profit up here, and a breakout situation. Great risk reward ratio, great profit. We'll probably be targeting actually that upper trend line there, and then put a trailing stop on it, just so that you can follow that one through and not have to worry about terribly too much about trying to egg or get too greedy, egging it on to the higher side. But nonetheless, when we talk about the pattern here, and we have these great ideas, but it is only effective 67% of the time. So we just want to be very mindful that it's great to have spotted it. It's great to have the idea of going long from this low area. Nice tight stop loss, great profit potential here, great risk reward ratio over 10.6. So it gives you all of the kind of the right indications, but just be mindful it is only going to be about 67% successful, as this pattern has a high failure rate. Okay, but it's looking good nonetheless. It's got a good kind of structural points, and it does look like this could be something that we could really be looking to enjoy going further forward. Now, if I come back up into our divergence indicator here, you can see that we've got some bearish divergence appeared on the charts. Okay, so this is again leading us into that idea that we are going to be looking for moving down into that handle of the cup and handle pattern. Okay, so it does kind of give us this idea with bearish divergence coming in here. Basically, the RSI is dropping down lower, showing us weakness, whilst the price is pushing up higher, showing us that actually we've got higher highs whilst lower highs on the RSI. Bearish divergence. The last time we saw one of these bearish divergences, though, we only saw a real small dip before we launched upwards. So just be very mindful. Although the positioning of the RSI is vastly different on these two scenarios, sometimes this can even fail as well. But for the most part, this is actually looking quite nice. We can see here that there's a good reason and a good logical rationale as to why we might move down towards this area of $45,500 for this handle situation to then get that breakout, and that breakout could potentially lead us up to over $50,000. So if you want to know a little bit more about the ascending wedge pattern, I do talk about that in more detail in this video right here. So I do urge you guys to check that one out. And remember, guys, if you haven't yet smashed that like button, smash the like button. We really do appreciate that.